Good day, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Taylorians, and all our online viewers. Today, we'll be having our speech and debate session for the President and Vice President candidates here on campus at Taylor Speakers Corner, as well as via the Taylor University Student Council YouTube channel. My name is Tung Jo, the current treasurer of TUSC for the term 2022-2023.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Elisha, and I'm the current Vice President of Taylor University Student Council for the term 2022-2023. And we'll be moderating this speech and debate session.
As this term slowly comes to an end, this speech and debate session would be for the upcoming term of Taylor University Student Council's representatives for the year 2023-2024. In the first hour, it will be between the candidates running for the president position. Now, let us introduce our first candidate for the position, Ahmed Maun Masih, a third-year student in Bachelor of Biomedical Science. Next, we have Tanuj Siddhish Raj in his first year of Bachelor of Law.
We will kickstart this session with each candidate sharing their speech, starting with Maun. Maun, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elijah. Good afternoon, everyone. Whether you are here... Good afternoon, everyone. Whether you are here with us present or joining us virtually, I would like to extend warm greetings to every one of you. Before I start my speech, I would like to take a moment to wish the best of luck to my fellow candidate, Tanuj, and Vice President candidates. For those who might not know me yet, I'm Ahmed Maun Masih, a final year biomedical science student, currently running to be the President of TUSC term 23-24. Today, I want to share with you my vision and my goals for TUSC for the upcoming term. My journey here has been shaped by my experience as a council member. I have witnessed countless events come to life thanks to the tireless effort of our dedicated council members, including myself. These experiences, along with the challenges we have faced and overcame, have been invaluable lessons. They are what inspire me to seek the role of president, to take these lessons and make the next term even better and brighter. Whether we are talking about organizing events or launching initiatives or addressing welfare concerns, I aspire to be the guiding voice that propels the council to new heights. As many of you have already seen my manifesto on TUSC Instagram page, I have outlined 3 main goals to achieve these targets. First and foremost, I aim to create opportunities for students to develop personally and professionally. This can be accomplished through collaboration. Collaborating with various clubs and societies is one of my priorities. Take, for instance, the recent success of Taylorian Cuisine, an event that saw enthusiastic participants from numerous CNS. It showcased their determination and willingness to be a part of TUSC events. To foster increased collaboration, we shouldn't aim to work with all CNS for all events. Instead, we should focus on collaborating with those that share similar goals. For instance, if you are promoting environmental conservation, let's say partnering with Nature Club, or efforts of engaging in community service with CSI or Rotec would make sense. Collaborative effort was somewhat limited in the past term, but collaboration means exploring and expanding our network connections, sharing ideas, and also increasing the exposure of TUSC. Therefore, I am committed to bridge this gap. Collaboration shouldn't be confined to internal partnership alone. We should also explore external collaboration. As a campus relation member, I'm proud to say we have witnessed growing collaboration with external parties in the recent months. This new experience should not be limited to council members alone. We should also strive to make it more inclusive for whole Taylorian community, and that's what I aim to bring. Now, let's address the issue of student welfare. It's crucial to raise awareness about available platform for students to voice their concerns. While we have seen some excellent initiatives, many have had temporary or short-term solutions. A significant number of students are still not aware of the feedback and inquiry form. To tackle this issue, we can implement small but impactful measures. For instance, you may have seen the small stickers in all the restrooms asking, "Need any help?" It's a simple yet effective way to raise awareness. I'm not suggesting we paste QR code of FEF everywhere, but strategically placing them in certain places with high traffic areas which would ensure greater awareness. We need more long-lasting strategies, not just temporary fixes. Also, apart from SRWM and town hall sessions, one of my approach to further increase the outreach is to collect issues from representatives of CNS and different schools on a monthly or once in 2 months. This is to ensure that the continuous flow of feedback and maintain dynamic approach. Lastly, I would emphasize my focus on enhancing the overall campus experience. We can achieve this by organizing grand events that are thoughtfully tailored to our most important audience, the tailoring community. Consider the success of events like Spirit Week, where many students enthusiastically participated by wearing themed outfits. However, with more robust marketing plan, we could have taken it to the next level. To achieve this, we can engage in pre-promotional activities on campus, not just relying on social media, but also creating a physical presence. Now, it's essential to remember that I cannot achieve these missions and goals on my own. It will require guidance and support from all the Taylorians. Your voice are the key to igniting the change we all strive for. If you want your concerns heard, your opinions considered, and a real change to take place, I ask for your vote as the next Student Council President. Together, we can make a meaningful impact and work toward building a brighter future for our Taylorian community. Thank you, and don't forget to vote for Moon.
Thank you, Maun, for that lovely speech. Without further ado, let us welcome Tanuj to give his introductory speech and let us know what he stands for. Tanuj, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanuj Raj. I see a lot of familiar faces here today. I want to thank all of you for coming. I know many of you have classes at this time, and I promise it'll be worth it. Today, I want to talk about the kind of future I want to build at Student Council and my vision for this campus. First, I want to provide structure to the current system of representatives by providing them with a common meeting place to discuss common issues and to devise solutions to these issues. Experience is the best teacher, and we'll be using prior experience to design solutions to current and future issues. Think about it. We'll be using the combined knowledge and know-how of all willing representatives to better serve you, the students. Second, I want to create a culture of self-growth and improvement at TUSC by transforming several areas, like how we recruit and train new probates. You see, I want TUSC to be a place where talented students can come to learn, grow, and excel. I want TUSC to be a place where talented students can grow into leaders. I want TUSC to be a place where you can develop, both professionally and personally. Third, I want to increase the number of town halls done to 3 per academic year. You see, the activities done by the clubs and societies at Taylor's make it a more vibrant, exciting place to be. But it does come with its own challenges. If there's a club exco BOD that has trouble securing facilities for the event, that matters to me even though I'm not part of that club. It is this fundamental belief that a win for you is a win for me that makes Taylor's a brighter, better place for all. Finally, I want to increase the number of avenues that students have to communicate with us and convey feedback and concerns. Currently, we have the FEF, the Feedback and Inquiries form, but I believe we can do better. We can always do better. Whether by email or by DMs to our social media accounts, students deserve numerous, reliable, accessible platforms to voice out their concerns to us, which will be then raised up to the management. If you like an event we did, tell us. If you felt that we could have done better, tell us. We'll use your feedback to improve ourselves and serve you better in the future. Now, this speech isn't just about telling you to vote for me. It's about dedicating ourselves to creating a brighter, better future for everyone at Taylor's. It's about ensuring that we can all keep improving. It's about ensuring that we can all stand in the light. So if you want to play your part in making Taylor's a brighter, better place for everyone, vote for Tanur Sidiraj. Thank you.
Apologies for the humming that you are hearing. Thank you, Tanuj, for the wonderful introductory speech. To all the viewers present here and to all our live viewers watching at home, to know more about the candidates' manifestos and what they are fighting for and their manifestos for the year, please visit our Instagram page at Taylor's Uni SC, where you may find all relevant information about their manifestos posted on our social media pages. Without wasting any more time, let us move on to the most awaited part, the debate session. For context, the candidates were given a topic to prepare a day prior to the speech and debate session, and the topics for the president candidates is as follows. How do you plan to leverage your role as the Student Council President to foster a more inclusive and vibrant university community by streamlining administrative processes, improving support for student clubs, and reducing bureaucratic barriers in the university, all while ensuring that the diverse voices of the university students are heard in our decision making? Let us hear from Maun on his stance on this debate topic and take on the debate topic for today. Maun, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elisha. So the topic that we have given is like very broad. So I have divided it into different parts, where first is the streamlining administrative processes and reducing the bureaucratic barriers, which is very much involved within the council itself and outside with the management itself. So one of the things within the council itself is the events management guideline itself, where like a lot of students are still not aware of these guidelines, which kind of limits the contradicts while event planning processes, where there's delays are coming because of they're not aware of these guidelines. So I want to emphasize myself on as a president to emphasize on these matters so that everyone's are aware of these guidelines made by our seal, so that they can have a better way of planning these events and their proposal get approved earlier. Apart from these guidelines, there's one of the a very crucial issue that we have all been facing is the venue booking process, which is very important in the event itself, because it's one of the main deciding factor for our event to be work out or not work out. So these matters, I want to, within the student council itself, I would like to discuss with our members and come up with a solution where our events can be planned earlier so that we can secure our booking earlier. On the other hand, I would like to work with the management and come up with strategies where we can see where the venue booking processes and like which available venue bookings, so that the students are aware of like when to book the venues itself, so that their events can go smoothly as well. Apart from these event management processes itself, there are other issues like the other issues about the facility management and all. For this, I have a thought of something like working as a workshop or discussion session where you can share your opinions and feedback on matters. Some of you might have already known there was a workshop about redesigning the lecture theatres done by the management itself, which was, I would say, one of the good initiatives where we get to share our opinion on these matters. So I want to extend, as a student council member from student council itself, as a student council president, I would like to have these discussions more often and work with management to have this discussion to ensure that all of our students' decisions are incorporated in the decision-making processes and be more inclusive. Apart from that, there is the international students and their visa processes and all those processes where they have like a lot of difficulties facing throughout that year here in Malaysia itself. So to tackle these issues, I would like to have international students meetups, maybe in once a semester, so that they can have a better understanding of how things works, and also we can get the feedback, and we try to work things out with the management on how these issues can be solved. Apart from that, the last thing is about supporting the student clubs and societies. This can be done by collaboration, I would say, because there are clubs and societies. We have been doing very successful clubs and societies with very huge events. But there are also clubs and societies with less manpower and with less experienced students and people who need more resources. So we can collaborate with them, and we can share our experience and our ideas so that their events can be better and they can grow together with us. And that's what I want to do as a student council. And that's my take on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Maun. Thank you, Maun. We'll now pass the floor to Tanuj to state his stance on this topic. Maun, the floor is... Tanuj, the floor is yours. Apologies.
Thank you, Elisha. So, how do we make it more inclusive for everyone on this campus? Okay, simple. We send a message to the different clubs and societies that they can take inspiration from. So when I said I want to transform how we recruit probates, I meant we have to focus on 3 things during the interview process. Your skills, whether you have the skills or not, your attitude, so do you want to work? And number 3, which is arguably the most important point, whether you want to learn or not. So when we recruit on a merit-based system and not external factors like your race, your religion, or your birthplace, I would say it's pretty inclusive. Because your skills, your attitude, and whether you have the talent or not, it doesn't discriminate. So when it doesn't discriminate, we make it more inclusive. And it sends a good message to other CNS, because we are the student council, and if we're going to talk about diversity and inclusivity, we need to lead by example. So how do we create a vibrant university campus while streamlining administrative processes and reducing bureaucratic barriers? Simple. We empower CNS to make events. We are the increased town halls. And there are a few ways to do this, but we can reduce the obstacles to events via town halls. Because the town halls make it easier for CNS to do events, even if by a little. We can also review the practical and economic framework for CNS to do events within reason, of course. When I talk about practical framework, I mean removing unnecessary levels within the chain of command, as well as reducing the paperwork they need for events. When I talk about economic framework, I mean I want to make it easier for CNS to look for finance and sponsors. And how do we support student clubs better? We increase town halls, and we review the framework to enable them to be in control of their funds and their finance. And when we do so, we make it easier for clubs to succeed and raise the funds needed for their events. And that, in turn, makes this campus a more vibrant, energetic place to be. So how do we ensure students' voices are heard and incorporated? So this brings me back to my 4th point, which is I want to increase the avenues that students have to communicate with us. Tell us if you liked an event. We did. If you felt that we could have done better, tell us. We'll use that feedback to improve. So I am pledging to you that your voices will not only be heard, but incorporated as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanuj and Maun, for stating your stance. Now, Tanuj, you will have the time to address the stance stated by Maun, or talk more about your own stance on this matter.
Okay. When I talked about economic framework, I am committed to reviewing the annual action plan that all the clubs and societies have, and seeing what we can do to make it easier for clubs to raise funds for the events via sponsorships, via merchandising. And when I talk about the practical framework, I'm talking about reducing paperwork, because there is a lot of paperwork to be submitted in order to go through with an event. And this makes it very, very slow to actually go through an event. It can actually be an incredibly big hassle to go through an event just because of the amount of paperwork and the amount of green lighting that it needs. Yeah.
Maun, you will have the same opportunity to address his stance on the matter, or bring up your own stance and explore further on your stance on this topic as well.
Okay, I would like to add to his stand. I just would like to ask you, you have mentioned about increasing about the town halls and everything. From my experience as a council member, I have seen a lot of students struggling with like having a lot of events, having to handle a lot of events. So yeah, how do you ensure that the workload is lower and ensure that you have more town halls?
Okay, so how do we ensure that the workload is lower? So, first of all, we need to reduce the amount of events done generally, but we still need to do events, but we need to reduce it, and we need to increase the quality of our events. So we focus on quality and not quantity. And this is good for a variety of reasons, because number one, from a manpower standpoint, when your workers are not tired, when they're not burnt out, they can give you more, and they'll be more motivated. So events will be of high quality. And number two, the budget that you could have taken to do 2 events, you can take it and consolidate it to do 1 memorable event. So you will do memorable events back to back to back, rather than 1 memorable one, then 1 forgettable one, then 1 memorable one, then 1 forgettable one again. So the way to ensure that the workload doesn't get too much is we focus on quality instead of quantity. We give them more time to plan, we give them proper rest, and yeah, we ensure the workload is manageable like that.
Okay, that answers my question.
Do you have anything else to raise to the candidate, or you want to point out more on your stance?
No, I don't have anything more.
In
to
that
add.
case, I'll pass it to Tung Jo for the next part.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you so much for both of you. And that actually wraps up the debate session for today for the presidential candidates. And now, you are welcome to raise your hand to ask your question away, and us, the moderators, will then cue you to ask your question. And to the viewers watching at home, there will also be a Slido link sent in the chat box in our YouTube Live. You may also click the Slido link to drop your questions for the candidates, and we will ask away. All right, so for the candidates, we will just give a couple of seconds before we actually start the Q&A session for today, for the questions to come in. Both for Marwan and Tanush, this will be our first question. So how will you work to simplify administrative procedures and reduce bureaucratic hurdles that students and clubs may encounter when seeking support or approvals for their activities? Perhaps Tanush can go first.
Okay, so as I said, how do we streamline the administrative process? That's simple. We remove the unnecessary elements out of the chain of command. Because generally, everyone needs to check. And when everyone needs to check, it slows down the process a lot. So when we remove unnecessary elements from the chain of command, we actually make it easier and we streamline the process to make it faster and more efficient. And I'm also committed to reviewing the paperwork needed to go through an event. Because currently, proposals can run into 30 to 50 pages, which is not only burdensome to carry out, but burdensome to read as well, and to review. So when things are burdensome to read and to review, it takes a longer time to go through with the event. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Tanush. Maun?
Okay, thank you. For that question, I would say to have a more streamlined administrative process. I would say, as I mentioned earlier, the most important thing for event is the venue booking process. So having it more in hand with the students and the clubs and society, at least like the student council and the student clubs and societies have access to those availabilities will make it more efficient for us to how to plan our event itself, when we can do our events. Because in the end of the day, when we do our events and when we come to proposal approval and when you send the emails to for venue booking, we don't get the most of the time. Some of the times we don't get the venue booking process itself. So we making it such a way that we work with the management to see where we can get access to the these availabilities to the normal members of the student council and even on clubs and societies will make it more easier for us to book these venues and our events to go on flow with our plans as well. So that's one of the main things about it. And also other issue is that I already mentioned about the event management guidelines. They have a lot of guidelines with the vendors and all. So we need to make sure that everyone in the council, all the clubs and societies are aware of these things, so that when they come in, when they enter into the clubs and societies or the council, they need to be more emphasized on these matters and the guidelines itself, so that it can go in smoothly. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to proposal approval, that some of the documents go missing. So to make it the students more aware is my way of going to streamline the administrative processes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maun. Just before we proceed, just a reminder that if you have any questions you would like to ask, you can actually raise your hand and the moderators will cue you and you can ask your question away, yeah? All right, moving on. The next question from the floor in the Slido is that, what are your thoughts on your opponent's manifestos? Do you agree or disagree, and why? And if yes, would you consider implementing their manifesto if you win? We can start with Maun for this.
Sure, absolutely. I would like he got a lot of good things in his manifesto, and I agree with everything I would say, because it got all the components of what TUSC is all about, their aim, their goal of integrating students and raising their concerns and all. But then the way I might do it, the way I incorporate and do it might be different than what Tanuj have mentioned itself. Where he mentioned about increasing the town hall, where I would like to incorporate some other ways in the way that we can get the feedbacks itself. That's one of the main things I would like to focus. Yeah, that's all.
All right, thank you, Maun. Tanuj?
Yeah, so as what Maun put in his manifesto, I actually agree with a lot of it, because as I said, I want TUSC to be a place where you can develop both professionally and personally. And in his manifesto, Maun speaks about opportunities to build and develop. So I'm also very passionate about student development, about developing into a leader and learning and growing. That's why I want to focus on a culture of growth and self-improvement. And furthermore, my last point, which is about increasing the number of avenues that students can use to communicate with us. Maun also mentions it in his manifesto. He says he wants to make sure the concerns are heard. But of course, the way we do it will be different, because we have our own ideas about that. So about uplifting the campus experience, I didn't explicitly say it, but everything in my manifesto was to uplift campus experience, from not only for representatives, but for the people that the representatives serve, the students, so you guys, CNS, and generally the average Taylorian. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tanuj. Moving on to the next question. How would you facilitate collaboration and networking among different student clubs to encourage joint initiatives and a sense of community? Perhaps for this, Tanuj can go first.
So how would I encourage collaboration and networking? So these town halls that I spoke about actually serve as a place for networking informally, which makes it easier to network because it takes the pressure off the students' shoulders. And when I said that I was committed to reviewing the practical and economic framework that clubs operate within, it'll actually make it easier for clubs to carry out events with different clubs. So for example, the chess club and the music club, for example. Because when you streamline administrative processes and you take away practical obstacles to doing events, clubs find it easier to do events. Or, to put it more specifically, they find it less hard to do events. So, number one, by reviewing the framework that the clubs operate within, and number two, by streamlining administrative processes, we make it easier for clubs to collaborate and do events with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuj. Maun?
Okay, for my take, I would say when we talk about collaboration, it's important to know that who we are collaborating with. Let's say if we are having let's say we are having a sport activity. If we collaborate with maybe a Rotary Club or maybe Nature Club, is not the efficient way. So my goal is, like, when it comes to collaboration, collaborate with some events which have shared goals with the clubs that we are collaborating with. That's the most efficient way, where they would accept our offer and brings our work together, to agree to work together. So that's my way of bringing that up and collaborating with the students and societies. And I would like to, when we plan our events also, I would like to focus more on events which we can collaborate with them, so that that the collaboration could be increased. Yeah, that's all my take.
All right, thank you, Maun. All right, so the next question is also from the floor. What are your thoughts about emotional intelligence? Do you think it is crucial for a president to be able to interact with everyone in the council? For this, maybe Mao, you can go first.
Yes, I would say it's you should have the potential to communicate well with everyone and know their thoughts and behaviors and all. So you should be able to learn it your way and make sure that you are in the right line with everyone. You know what's going with everyone's in mind and you know what's going with everyone. Let's say like you can't do as a president, you might not be able to talk to everyone personally, but then there are board of directors and all the other members as well. From them you can hear your voice, their concerns as well, so that you can focus more on their personal, you can approach them personally if you hear those concerns and try to consolidate that way. That's what I want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mao. Tanuj?
So, to address the second part first, yes, I do think it is extremely important for the president to be able to speak to everyone in the council, because the council is for everyone and the president has to be fair and unbiased. And emotional intelligence is extremely important in facilitating this, because when you are emotionally intelligent, you can speak to someone in their own language, so to speak. So it is equally important as knowing what you're doing technically, because if you do not respect a person and you do not speak to them in their own language in terms of motivation, in terms of discipline, in terms of generally getting them to do what you want, they will not work for you. They will not be motivated, they will not be disciplined, they will not be productive. So, yes, emotional intelligence is very important, just as important as knowing what you're doing technically. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuj. All right, the next question is, what kind of leadership style will you incorporate as a president and how would it benefit the council? Tanuj, you can go on for this.
So, what kind of leadership style I wish to incorporate when I'm president? I wish to incorporate a democratic leadership style, because in council, everyone is talented, everyone is competent, and everyone is unique. And when everyone is talented, competent, and unique, we are always having ideas flowing in the council room. So the only way for me to implement ideas that are good, that are feasible, and that are interesting is to take opinions from everyone. Because this not only encourages the creating of ideas, it encourages critical thinking and analysis skills. So I wish to be a democratic leader in order to encourage fresher and better ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuj. Maud?
For me, I would say I would categorize this into two different ways. I would have two leadership styles in two different time frame. First, I would say is the coaching, where I coach the students as a member who is experienced. I try to guide others to have to work for their goal and help them in knowing what they are going to do. For after its coaching is done, we are well prepared. Then I would go for the democratic one, so that when they're well prepared for the coaching and they're well guided and when they know what to do, then the democratic is the most important way of them raising their concerns, and we are going for the majority of it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Those are my leadership roles.
All right, thank you, Maud. Just asking, is there any questions from the floor? You may raise your hand. Okay, we have one from the floor.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, I'm Noor Asmina. My question to both of you is, what other mechanisms other than feedback form do you envision for gathering feedback from students and ensuring that their voices are heard?
Can I go first?
Can?
Okay.
Thank you.
So, as I mentioned in my speech, I'm looking to create a new email where any student, if they want to communicate feedback, can indiscriminately send in feedback, because, well, it's very easy to write email, and you can also send it from your personal account, of course. So email is the first part. Second part is, of course, DMs to our Instagram account. I believe we can always be more active in making our DMs a safe space for students to voice out their concerns. Of course, this will be private and confidential. So email is number one. DMs to our Instagram accounts and Facebook and YouTube is number two. We can also collect feedback from word of mouth. We can go around collecting feedback. We did that very recently for our SRWM, our Student Representative Welfare Meeting. This is a particularly strong form of feedback collection because it's informal, so people are enticed, or they feel more interested in giving you more information, because it is a no pressure or very, very low pressure situation. So email, manual collection, and DMs to our Instagram accounts.
Thank you, Tanuj. Maun?
Okay, for my approach, I also have mentioned a lot in my speech itself. One of the approach is getting the feedbacks from the CNS representatives and the school representatives, which I believe is one of the most efficient way, because when it comes to SRWM, where what our student representative from our school does is sending emails personally to everyone, blasting emails to every student itself. So in that way, we get to be notified with, we can raise our concern in that way, so that it's easier for them to collect those concerns and raise it to us. So yeah, one of the ways to get these feedbacks. We'll try to get it bi-monthly or once in 2 months, so to ensure that there's a flow of the feedback every time now and then. Apart from getting the feedbacks through those representatives, one other way is that having other discussions sessions with other related to the main issues we have been facing, so that we can get issues. It may be similar to town hall, but I would say more focused on specific goals. Like say we have an issue about the shops mall itself. So let's have a discussion about that and gain students' feedback from there itself. So have specific discussion session where students come and have their concerns raised. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maun. I hope that answered your question. All right. Moving on to the next question. How will you engage students in the decision-making process to ensure their voices are heard when it comes to streamlining operations and improving inclusivity? Perhaps, Tanuj, you can go on for this.
Okay, so for this, you have to look at the town hall again and our SRWM. Because in these two events, we actually collect a lot of feedback from students that we use to make life better here on campus. So when you attend SRWM, you attend as a normal student. And when you attend as a normal student, you get a lot of feedback from ICT to timetables, to the library, to the shops mall even. So when we collect feedback like that, we actually make a difference, even if by very little. So that's number one. And number two, when we do the CNS town halls, the way we incorporate the feedback is we can raise it up to the management and we can see what the management has to say about these suggestions. And when we do that, we can actually make a change in the CNS framework. So raising it up to the management, because TUSC serves as a messenger of some sorts to the management of CNS concerns and of students' voices. So these two events are very important, and this is how we'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuj. Maun?
For me, I would say the most effective way is making students aware of the feedback and inquiry form is the most important thing we have to do. Because even till today, a lot of students are still not aware of the feedback and inquiry form. And as I have mentioned in the my speech itself, is to increase this awareness, we can have the QRs in strategic platforms, in strategic places where students mostly visit, so that they can they at least come across it and they see and they read it and they know, oh, there is this exit, or when they have their concern, they go back to that and scan that and raise their concerns. That's how I want to incorporate, so that everyone is aware of this feedback and inquiry form, to make sure that everyone is voices are heard. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
All right, thank you, Maun. Before we proceed, just want to open the floor again. Is there anyone who would like to ask any questions? Okay, we have one over there.
So good afternoon to both of you. So my question is basically revolving around like how both of you have your own strategies on being more efficient and also being more streamlined when it comes to having activities or even just carrying out anything, right? So I just want to ask you guys how you, based on your manifestos, how will you compare and contrast your strategies in not only unifying the campus, but also more importantly, unifying the body you are in right now, which is TUSC, in order to further improve and basically streamline our future processes and activities. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the question. Perhaps for this, Maun, you can go first.
Okay, for the, you mentioned more about uniting the council itself, right? So for uniting the council itself, I would say is we have a shared goal and everyone is able to share their ideas. Because currently the council itself, I see, there's lack of sharing of ideas between the departments itself. So I want to emphasize on those things and where you can share your ideas. Let's say a campus relation member, they are good in designing on stuff. So they can share their ideas to other members in other clubs and societies so that their work is more efficient and they finish their work faster. Because some of the other departments struggle with those structures. So sharing these ideas with each other will make it able to make their work more efficient and finish their work faster. That's how I want to unite them. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maun. Next, Tanuj, you can go now.
So how do I plan on uniting TUSC? So the way I plan on doing this is to encourage different departments to select members from different departments for the events. Because we have a wealth of specialization at Student Council. For example, CR is very good in design. So when CW has an event, we can recruit CR members to join our event and share their knowledge and expertise with us to better design and market our event. So we get more participation and more interest in our event. And how do I plan on streamlining the process? Well, I plan currently on reviewing our IPP and the length and the syllabus of it to see what we can do and whether we can improve it, whether we can review it, and whether we can shorten or make it more intense or less intense. So by encouraging cross-departments to collaborate on events and by reviewing our IPP to make probates not only more efficient but more effective at their job, we can unite and streamline the process. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tanuj. Seems like there's another question coming from the floor. We'll go there first.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Afreen. I want to ask, what is one signature change, and kindly limit it to one signature change that you want to bring that is different from the previous terms?
All right, thank you. Maybe you can have Tanuj go first.
So one signature change that I would like to bring as compared to the previous terms definitely has to do with probation, because I want to focus, well, I've already spoken about how I want to recruit members, but I want to focus in the training of members for my answer. So I want to focus on giving new probates positive reinforcement when we give them feedback after execution. Because we need to give them feedback in order for them to be motivated and in order for them to learn and grow into the leaders that will take over council from us tomorrow. I'm also a very, very big fan of allowing people to learn and grow on their own. So while we do teach them how to fish, we will not be giving them the fish so that they can learn and grow and realize the answer on their own. And when you realize the answer on your own, it is generally more effective and sticks with you longer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tanuj. Maun?
For me, I would say it's been the collaborations with other clubs and societies, because in the last term itself, we haven't seen like any or like just one or two few events where we collaborate with other clubs and societies itself. So we want to increase that collaboration, and that's what I would like to do in my term as a new thing, because the collaboration between the clubs and societies is very limited, and that's why we are not able, like our events are not being more exposed. So to increase our exposure and to make our TUSC more reliable and more increase the audience of TUSC to the whole tailoring committee, have that collaboration with other clubs and societies so that everyone's aware of our TUSC. That's what I want to do. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maun. May I ask if there's any more questions on the floor? Okay, there's one. Will you go there first, okay?
Hi, it's me again. My question is, can you hear me? All right. Can you provide examples from your past experience or your current ideas that demonstrate your commitment to fostering an inclusive and supportive environment for international students? Maybe Mount can start first?
Okay. So you mentioned about making an inclusive environment for all the international students, to my experience. So we have, let's say it's not in TUSC, but other platforms, I have had meetups with international students itself, and I have going their concerns, and I help them personally to raise their concerns itself. So it's one of the main things that I have done from my past experience, and I feel like that's very important, because some of the students, international students, they are frightened to come across different, join other grand events and go there, because they don't have friends sometimes. they're like very limited to their own study, and like they find it really hard to make friends even in their own circle, class itself. So raising their concerns, hearing them out and helping them in expressing through my experience in helping them out and what they can do, what are the strategies that they can follow, and what are the things that where they can raise their concerns, so that they can have a more better, brighter future in tailoring community. That's what I have done, and that's what I would like to implement in my future as well as a tailoring TUSC president if I'm elected. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Marwan. Tanuj?
So, two current examples. So, when I said I want to establish a meeting place for representatives, I meant that I want to incorporate all representatives of all semesters. And this is common knowledge, but every semester will have an international rep as well. So when we establish a meeting place for common issues, we actually include the international rep in our decision making and in these meetings. And it's very important because our international representatives can give us perspectives and feedback that we couldn't get from normal Malaysians. So this is how we make it more inclusive and more welcoming towards international students, by filtering by accepting their feedback when we look for feedback, and by raising it up to the management. And as I said, when we recruit based on merit, so we do not look at your nationality, once again. So any international student, if you want to learn, if you have the skills, and if you have the commitment and the time, you can apply. And if you are good enough, you will join. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuj. I hope that answered your question. So we have one last question. Is there anyone more? Yes.
Hi, can you hear me? All right, so I think from all this while you've been talking about how you want to do with USC, how you want the IPP, and how you want to have a lot of collaborations with other clubs and society. So I will just state it here. I think we all agree when I say some students still feel like TUSC is very scary and hard to approach. So can I know, have you thought of anything as a president, candidates, have you thought of anything that can kind of change this perspective and like, you know, create an actual bond to change their perspective to like, oh, TUSC is actually nice and, you know, easygoing and easy to hang out with, something like that.
All right, we can have Tanuj to answer this first.
Okay, so I can think of two main ways we can do that. So the first way is when we post on Instagram. Currently, it is very professional, which is good, but it can also contribute to the air of intimidation, to the air of fear, because when things are very professional, people get intimidated very easily. So we can move towards doing more comedic reels, more comedic posts that show what life really is like within the student council room. So that's number one. And number two is being accessible to every student. So when we speak normally to every student, they actually get to know us better. And when they get to know us better and we spend more time with them, they become less fearful because they see we're just like them. We're just another student, right? So these two ways, by focusing on comedic reels and comedic posts on our social media, and by becoming more accessible and more friendly towards students everywhere on campus, we can take away slowly, bit by bit, this air of intimidation within student council. Thank you.
For me, I would say is organizing events which are more tailored to students, with having more fun and having them share their talents and other activities. Because right now the TUSC is where TUSC exposure is very low, I would say. Because like most of the events, when we do an event, there's most of the time it's mostly the TUSC members or the past members joining this event. So increasing this exposure by pre-promotional activities for events and engagement activities will make them more engaged with our students and be more aware of how the TUSC works. So I would like to bring those kind of events and have these pre-promotional activities physically on campus, not only on social media, because currently we have seen most of the promotional activities are going physical on social media itself. So I would like to bring that physically to campus and have more exciting, more engaging activities to bring it, to make the TUSC more known to be a more fun place for students to join. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Thank you, Tanuj and Maun, for answering the questions raised by both the public audience and also the audience live on YouTube as well. This marks the end of the question and answer session for the presidential debate session. Before we end the presidential debate, we'd like to give the opportunity for both Tanuj and Maun to share their closing speech on why the students should vote for them. We'll start with Maun.
Thank you, Elijah. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for attending this session. I hope that you all have got a brief insight of my goals and my mission as a president through this session. My three main objectives or goals is providing opportunities to develop and elevating campus experience and raising concerns of every Taylorian. And this can only be achieved by the guidance and support from you all. So I would like to make sure that I am committed and resilient and determined to bring the change that we all strive for. So please vote for me, Maun, as your next Student Council President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maun, for your speech and debate session today. We wish you the best of luck for the campaign ahead. I'll now pass the floor to Tanuj to give his closing remarks.
Okay, so why should you vote for me? Because your priorities and your needs will be at the center of my mind all the time, and every event that we design will be in order to benefit you in some way, whether to network professionally, to blow off some steam, or simply to get more friends. Everything will be done with you in mind. So when we focus on your welfare, your welfare and your professional development, as well as your personal development, I believe we can make Taylor's a better, brighter place for everyone, not only the university students, but everyone in general. So if you want to play your part in making Taylor's a brighter, better place for everyone, vote for Tanuj Sidiraj. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuj, for your closing speech once again, and Maun as well for your closing remarks. We wish you both all the best in your presidential campaign. To wrap things up for the presidential debate session, I'll pass the floor to Yong Tung Jo.
All right, so that is all for the speech and debate session for the presidential candidates, Maun and Tanuj. It was an insightful debate session and that I'm sure helped Taylorians understand their representatives better and also to cast their votes accordingly when the votes commences on the 23rd of September, starting next Saturday, up to the 30th of September. All right, we will now take a short break before continuing with the electoral speech and debate session for the vice presidential candidates. And the short break will take place now and see you back later at 1:55 p.m. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. For the next session, it will be between the candidates running for the position of Vice President, which are Abdul Rahman and Sherry Chan. Kindly be seated as we wait for the session to begin. First up, we have Abdul Rahman Yusuf, a first-year student in mechanical engineering. And we have Sherry Chan entering her second year in Bachelor's of Business, specializing in international business and marketing.
All right, so we'll start off this session by a humble introduction by both candidates, starting with Abdul Rahman. Abdul Rahman, the floor is yours.
Greetings all, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed Tellurians. Today I stand before you as a candidate for Vice President of Taylor's University Student Council, term 23-24. My name is Abdul Rahman Yusuf. I'm a first year mechanical engineering student, and I know you may not all know me, but I stand here as an anchor. I'm asking you for your trust and support as I present my vision and commitment to champion diversity and commitment and ensure that every Tellurian voice is heard and respected. In a world of our diversity is our greatest asset. We must recognize that our strength lies in our differences. Our university is a microcosm of the diverse world we live in, and I believe it is our responsibility to create an environment where every student, regardless of their background, feel like they belong. I want to emphasize on the importance of my manifesto, which revolves around inclusivity and unity. I believe that to achieve this mission, we have to start by embracing diversity and promoting inclusivity. As the great Maya Angelou once said, we all should know that diversity makes us for a rich tapestry. And we must understand that all threads of the same tapestry are equal in value, no matter their color. We're all threads in this tapestry that makes up Taylor's University. For power and unity, we must change. You have to be the change you want in the world. I'm committed to being that change within our university, and I will work tirelessly to ensure that every student voice is not only heard, but also valued and respected. Your concerns, ideas, and inspiration will be my top priority. Promoting cultural exchange programs. I will work to expand cultural exchange programs to encourage students from different backgrounds to learn more about one another and to celebrate our differences. I also want to create a safe space. I will advocate for establishing of safe spaces on campus where students can engage in open and respectful dialogues about their experiences and their perspectives. In closing, I want to leave you with a quote from the civil rights activist and poet Adria Lord. It is not our differences that divide us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences. Tellurians, let us recognize, accept, and celebrate our differences. Let us forge a unity front in the face of challenges, knowing that our diversity is our great strength. When it's time to vote, remember the vision, the commitment, and the promise I bring. Vote for Abdurrahman for progress, unity, and positive change. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Abdul Rahman, for that fine and lovely introduction. And without further ado, let us welcome the next candidate, Sherry Chan, to give us her introductory speech and what she stands for. The floor is yours, Sherry.
Thank you, Joe. A very good afternoon to everyone. I'm Sherry Chan, a candidate for Vice President position of TUSC term 23-24. I'm a second-year international business and marketing student with high passion to make Taylor's University a better place for everyone. In the past year of being a Taylorian, I am proud to say that I have owned my skills and abilities to take up such an important role. I have been a part of many events in TUSC where I've showcased my abilities and also grow to become the person I am right now. To name a few, I was the MC and design team for Generous Orientation, the project manager of the week-long Spirit Week at Spirit de Taylors, and the head of design and marketing for the Club and Society's bonding event, Taylor's Crossing. Apart from dedicating my time to events, I am also capable of handling my academics well by achieving the Dean's List for all my semesters in the past year. Looking back, I realized how lucky I was to have joined Taylor's University when everything was transitioning back to the physical mode. I saw how the campus turned livelier day by day, where the number of events happening just skyrocketed. From there, I realized and discovered what everyone wants in Taylor's: events, fun, and also meaningful events. Hence, this will be one of the things I will work hard on to improve. I will ensure that we, as the Student Council, can provide more opportunities for students to participate at a low cost where they can benefit from. This includes career-related events such as company networking events and also fun events where every student of any background can enjoy. As a Student Council member, I am also someone that is happy to serve the students and answer queries that arise. As I answered more questions, no matter in person or online, I understand that the students' welfare will always be our top priority. With that, I aim to expand the choices of platforms where students can voice out their concerns. It will not just be accessible via our Instagram account, the Linktree, but also to be accessible through other platforms, such as the Taylor's mobile app. I believe the more platforms students have to access our feedback and inquiry from, the more voices we are able to hear, and better the welfare of all students. If you want more opportunities and more voices to be heard, vote for me, Sherry Chan, as your next Vice President, as I will be your eyes, your ears, and also your voice to make Taylor's University a better place for all. Vote for Sherry, and your future will be Sherry. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sherry, for the wonderful introductory speech. To all the viewers present here, and to all our live viewers out there watching at home, to know more about our candidates' manifesto and what they are fighting for, do visit our Instagram page at Taylor's UniSC, where you may find all relevant information regarding their election campaign, including their detailed manifestos. And again, without wasting any more time, let us move to the most awaited part, the debate session. For context, the candidates were given a debate topic one day prior for them to prepare one day to provide their stand. So, today's topic for the vice presidential candidates is, in envisioning the future of our university, how will you navigate the fine line between building upon existing foundations and daring to explore new horizons, fostering growth and adaptability while respecting our institution's history and core values? Let's start off with Abdurrahman on your stand.
Taylor's University has been founded in 1996. That's 28 years of heritage. And I'm not planning to walk over it. I'm going to advocate for a balanced approach in which it combines tradition and innovation. I want to shape the university's future that involves collaboration between diverse stakeholders. I want to vision the data-driven decision-making and preservation of our core values. I'm not going to make a sudden change where everybody cannot adapt to. I want it to be a gradual adaptation. Alumni and community engagement, faculty and staff development, as well as strategic resource allocation. By fostering an inclusive and forward-thinking environment, we can navigate that fine line between our institution history and growth, ensuring that it thrives well respecting its heritage and its core values. That's it.
All right, thank you, Abdurrahman. Now, let's pass the floor to Sherry to give your stance on the topic today. Sherry, the floor is yours.
All right. So for my stance, I would like to speak this out with a metaphor of using the tree. So Taylor's University, as mentioned by Abdurrahman, we actually do not have a very long history compared to other universities, but we have laid down quite a few of solid foundations that the past people have worked really hard for us. That is the core value of Taylor's University. Taylor's University always wanted to bring the best for all the students in Taylor's University. They want every student to thrive and be the best and be the excellence. And they also want to bring inspiration to every student studying in Taylor's, because with inspiration, there is the drive for us to move forward. And also, the most important core values we have in Taylor's is very, they really like to importancize diversity and also inclusion. This is the favorite thing I like about Taylor's University. We are very open to accept all the voices students have and from students from different backgrounds. This is our foundation. And what do I want to do to expand that foundation? As the tree, it will just get sunlight, water, and also nutrients from everywhere, and also grow the branches, grow the leaves, and also spread its power. So, as for the stakeholders in Taylor's, of course, we have you as the students, we have the staff, we have the lecturers, we have a lot of people in our Taylor's community. To continue to grow them, of course, we have to listen to everyone's voice, what everyone wants, and how will that lead us to a better and more wider and bigger tree. So for my long-term vision, of course, that is something and I keep repeating and repeating is I want to preserve the good and continue to grow them. And also, I want to grow the new branches, which is to make more opportunities for all the students in Taylor's University, and also make TUSC the biggest branches that support all the growing and all the help for students. For what I am going to do to make this happen is, of course, speaking realistically, the first thing we have to do is to sit down, talk, communicate on how everything can happen. Everything must happen with a plan. So the first thing I plan to do is to sit down with my team, develop a plan, take it to the management level, and make things happen. Not just by voice, but actually make things happen. Lastly, I want to say something about some improvements I wish to have, including faculty and curriculum development, which is more opportunities of different kinds, which are close to career-related, engagement-related, and other related. And last off, I would like to say this is a nice opportunity for me to voice out my thoughts as a vice president candidate, and that's it for my stance. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sherry. Abdurrahman, we will now go to you. You can either address the points said by Sherry earlier, or you may continue explaining your stance on the issue.
Okay, Sherry shared very important ideas in my opinion, but I'd like to categorize myself as a realist. I don't like to aim for something that I cannot achieve, and one of the points that Sherry said was providing more opportunities for Taylorian students, correct? Now, in the light of that, I believe that we as student council are limited to certain types of power, correct? And I don't believe that simply holding a meeting to branch out more opportunities is more likely the best reliable option. I'm not just refuting it, I also would like to offer a solution for that. In this case, it would rather be holding more events that holding more events that take more people other than Teloians. I believe this would inquire inclusivity. And if you actually had a look at my manifesto, it actually highlights the inclusivity and the importance of actually feeling accepted. So can you give me your take on it? Because I believe that just holding a meeting takes more than that, and the power that is within us is limited.
All right, thank you, Abdurrahman. Back to you, Sherry. Would you like to address on the comments or opinions stated by Abdurrahman?
I would give a reply to what Abdurrahman is asking. Of course, I mentioned just now, sitting down and making the plan is just the first step of my plan. We will be doing our actions based on the plan that we have devised when we had that meeting. I believe that right now what we're saying is not just talk. It's what I am going to do in the future. So I cannot 100% say what I'm going to do this and that, because truthfully speaking, I do not know well enough about how council and management collaborate with each other to make things happen. So I do not want to address to that first. Okay, so other than that, I would like to continue on my own ideas. To say about that, I actually want to do more other than like giving more opportunities, because what I meant by opportunities was not just events or just like other things that people can participate. Of course, opportunities is what people need right now. I believe every one of here, you have the potential, you have the talent, you have the skills, but sometimes you lack the opportunity to grow and showcase yourself, to just tell people you are capable of doing this. So of course, opportunity is one thing. Other thing is, I want to make TUSC a student body that is the center of collaboration between clubs and societies, because clubs and societies have way more students than the student council have. That is a fact. And with the collaboration, as student council become the center of collaboration, we can make many things happen. We can make, as one thing I said, opportunities happen, and also growth happen, and also changes to happen. So that is what I wanted to add on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry and Abdurrahman. Now I'll pass it to Elisha to move on to the next session.
All right, thank you everyone for the debate session. We'll now move on to the question and answer session. We'll provide the public audience with an opportunity to ask your questions. For viewers watching online, you will be provided with a link on Slido that you can access to ask your questions, which we will take a look at and ask our candidates here as well. Before we move on to the question and answer session, we'd like to take this time to wait for a few questions to come in. Is there anyone in the public audience with a question to ask the candidates as of now? Yes.
Yeah, so good afternoon to both of you. So just to start us off, I just wanted to ask, since both of you have your own manifestos, have your own views and visions, aside of all of that, since you guys have chosen to run for vice president, I would like to know what are your greatest strengths that you can bring to the table in order to complement our president in bringing their vision to life. Because I believe TUSC is a team and no role is isolated from each other. So that's my main concern. Thank you.
Maybe for this, we'll have Sherry answer first.
All right. So what is my greatest strength? I would say is my ability to adapt to any kind of situation I'm facing with, which is, I think, is very relevant to the situation I am in now. No matter who I will partner with, I am confident to say that I can communicate well with my partner, support him well, bring things together, make things happen. And also, I can also voice out my opinions, although I'm also supporting him at the same time. So this is the greatest strength I have right now. Another thing is I'm resilient. I know how to get back on my feet as fast as I could. I believe, of course, with the workload we have in student council, this is very important. If as the vice president, we're burned out, we are tired, how can we motivate our members to continue working? So this is my strength. I am Brazilian. I can motivate my members to have the strength to keep on going and to make things happen. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. We'll now proceed to Maun to answer the question. Abdul Rahman.
Thank you, Elisha. So when it comes to talking about my strength, one thing that stands out is actually open-mindedness. I'm really a team player. So if any of you all know that during discussions or anything, or during any brainstorming activity, I'm really open to all ideas. I don't really point it out. I try to walk with it, and I believe this will be a crucial role in aiding the president as his vice in this scenario. Moving on, I'm also characterized with the trait of persistency, as I like to follow through with a certain task. As I've mentioned before, I'm taking a mechanical engineering degree, which is proven to be a challenging, but fear not, for I'm committed to have an adequate balance between my academic studies as well as my extracurricular studies. And I promise to be able to show that not through only my words, but through my actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul Rahman. We'll now take a question from the Slido link. Could you provide specific examples of traditional practice or current practice that TUSC currently holds and which you believe should be preserved into the coming term? What are the practices that you believe should be preserved into the coming term? For this, we'll start with Abdul Rahman and proceed with Sherry.
Now, I joined TUSC at the beginning of this year, and it has been an amazing journey. I made friends, colleagues. As much as people, I would like to say, I believe that these friendships are going to go a long way. Now, one thing that you might not be able to see, as it's more of an internal thing for TUSC, is we hold birthday parties for each certain individuals, and we have this really cute sort of way where we make a group and then we add everybody except them. And then during the closest meeting, we surprise them with like the gift and we sing them the birthday. At first it was sort of like a cringe thing for me because I wasn't really accommodated to that sort of thing. But after a while it seemed like a very interesting thing to do, and I really like to uphold this tradition. This is for the things that are internal. For the things that you can all see is, of course, upholding the meetings, but one thing that you all are updated on is the general meeting, in which all departments are actually united in one hall to update each other on the ongoing and upcoming events, which I really feel is a very fruitful event, even though it might be hectic because we're talking about uniting every single member of TUSC. What are we talking about? 50 members plus, which is a really big number. And for all of these people to take time out of their day to come to it. But at the end of the day, it really provides a productive way to lead in our way to TUSC.
Thank you, Abdul Rahman. We'll move on to Sherry.
All right, so 3 practices. The first thing that came onto my mind was the fact that our current EXCOs right now, they are always eager to invite us to join informal sessions like lunch, dinner, or sport games. This is one thing I definitely would continue on to do, even if I'm not selected. I want this to continue to happen, bonding events informally happening in TUSC, because I find this is the best way for us to quickly get together, know each other, talk to each other, and develop relationships within each other. Secondly, talking about what we usually do is, of course, our weekly meetings. I actually like this a lot because I get to see my members, my department members every week. We have this constant communication. We have this constant relationship going on. It's not as if we're here in the council, but we don't meet each other for a very long time. But because we have this weekly meeting, we can see each other every week, we talk to each other, and also we make sure everything is going smoothly. So this weekly meeting is the second thing I would definitely preserve. The last thing is, what I see is actually just normal, small things we usually do. Actually just coming to the council room during your break time. I see this as a very small action that the members are willing to spend time with us council members so that we can have a more constant relationship going on. It actually helps make our productivity better, make our work better, work quality better, and so on. So these are the three things I would preserve.
Thank you once again, Sherry. Now we'll move on to another question from the Slido link before opening it once again to the public audience. The online viewers would like to know what your vision is to uplift the campus experience in the university. For this, we'll start with Sherry and go to Abdul Rahman.
So my visions to uplift campus experience, I've stated in my manifesto also, is to provide more opportunities to Taylorians, to let them have the chance to not only participate and also might also facilitate the events ongoing. We can have them join in some of our small events, have the chance to take on some of the facilitating roles, grow from that point, and develop some soft skills. This is the first thing. And the other thing is I wrote that I want to listen to more voices from Taylorians because I believe that the welfare is, of course, the top #1 priority of every student council member. So actually, I believe that listening to voices of everyone helps to make our campus life experience better. Because if we don't move forward, it's actually saying that we're moving backwards because the world is constantly moving forward. If we don't take a step in front, it means that we're regressing. So by listening to the voices, the feedbacks of all the students, we are taking steps in front, step by step. Although it may be small, it may not be very obvious, but we are taking the step to make campus life experience better and better. That is my stance.
When it comes to improving campus life, I believe it's very important to take note of the opportunity taking, which is something I'm going to strive for to promote all Taylorians. Believe it or not, there's a lot of clubs in Taylor's right now, and the only certain issue that I believe I see in people who are telling me there's nothing to do is the initiative that people do not take. So this is what I'm striving to go for once if I'm able to take this position. I'm going to encourage the people to take the initiative to go for further opportunities because the opportunities are actually there. Like, I'm not going to come up with something on my own. They are there. But what I'm going to do is serve as an anchor to provide these opportunities to all the different members and Taylorian students. Thank you.
Thank you both, Abdul Rahman and Sherry. I will open the floor again to the public audience to ask their questions.
Hello, good afternoon, candidates, Abdul Rahman and Sherry. I just have a few questions for you. I actually have a few questions with me. How many questions am I allowed to ask? Okay, okay. So in regard to Elisha's question just now, you previously mentioned that how do you enhance the campus experience? I think you gave very, very general answers. You know what, I think you guys are expecting a lot of Taylorians to vote for you guys, so maybe you can be a bit more specific. What new initiatives do you plan to put in to the Taylor's campus that will enhance the students' experience instead of saying things like providing like opportunities? Are there anything more specific that both of you would like to share?
For this, we can start with Abdul Rahman and followed by Sherry.
You want opportunities, but the opportunities are provided. What I believe as my place, as a possible candidate for VP, could provide to Taylor's University is I can uphold the traditions that are ongoing. I can provide more events. I can make sure that all your issues can be resolved as soon as possible. I can give you more solutions and more accessibility to management. This is what it is within my power to provide to you as a VP. But you also have to take into account the fact that I'm not in this alone, right? I have a whole team of people that I'm going to be guiding. So I will promise you that if you bring your concerns to us, we will take it as utmost priority to provide you the best possible outcome for what you want.
Thank you, Abdul Rahman. We'll proceed with Sherry.
All right, so to speak about more specific of what I meant of opportunities, I have a few ideas in mind that may not be mature. I want to give more opportunities to students to actually go out of Taylor's, go and talk, maybe not talk, but actually experience the working culture out there. Through Taylor Student Council, we provide them this opportunity to network with companies outside so that they can actually know what skills they have to develop in their university life to become a competitive worker in the future. Another thing is, right now, I'm in campus integration. In this term, we try to make events as big as possible to be big scale. But from what we actually achieved, I noticed that actually, even if it's a small scale or a mid-scale event, it is actually the opportunity itself for students to shine. So rather than going for bigger events, bigger scale events, maybe a few more smaller initiatives, smaller events that provide students the platform to show themselves is a better approach. And another one is about the welfare. I mentioned that I wanted to have our FEF, feedbacks and inquiries form, to be available on more platforms, such as the Taylor's mobile app. Because Taylor's mobile app is the app that every Taylorians have. It's the most accessible thing that every Taylorians go to for everything. So I believe if we can have the form linked up on the app, it is more efficient than them going onto Instagram, clicking on the link tree, and then filling in the form. It's way more efficient than that. So these are my few examples. Thank you.
Thank you to both Abdul Rahman and Sherry for clarifying on your way of uplifting campus experience. I'll now give him a chance to ask another question as well.
Thank you very much. Another question, perhaps. By the way, this is an opportunity to sell yourself. To the both of you, what makes you the better competitor today to be Vice President of TUSC?
Can you repeat your question, please?
What makes you the better competitor today to be the Vice President of TUSC?
All right, for this, we'll go with Sherry first, and then Abdul Rahman can continue.
All right. So talking realistically, the first thing I would always say is my experience. I have done a lot in student council. I have gained the knowledge of how student council work in the past year. I know what it is currently ongoing. I know how the flow is for every event, like the planning process, the executing process, and even the post-event process. So this is, of course, my biggest advantage right now. Secondly, I want to say that my competitive advantage is that I am very bold and I'm not afraid to voice out what I think is right and what I think is wrong. I think this is very important as a student council member, not just as a vice president. It's a very important skill that we need to have. I believe that we can't all be just agreeing on other people's opinion and just going with the flow. I believe that I am here to become the opposite side of the opinion. I voice out the opposites so that we can find loopholes, we can find things that we never considered of, think of an alternative, make it even better. So these are my two competitive advantages.
You asked who is the best competitor between the both of us. Now, to answer you truthfully, I have no doubt in my mind that...
My question is, why do you think you're the better competitors?
Yeah, apologies, I just rephrased your question. Now, as I was saying, I have no doubt in my mind that Cherry is an amazing candidate. She has seniority over me, she has experience, but I believe that I bring something to the table that is quite different from her. In terms of international perspective, the fact that I've gone to different countries, or like I came from different countries, and I can provide a fresh perspective to the council, as well as the fact that new ideas can be generated in general. But don't let my age or experience undermine my position right now. I know that I am telling you to vote for me, but it is, after all, at the end of the day, it's your call to see who's the better candidate. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I am going to literally be an anchor to listen to your concerns. As I said earlier, I'm an open mind. I won't discriminate against anything. I'm open to all opinions and ideas. I won't promise you an exact solutions, but what I will do is I will take it into heart and I'll follow up as soon as possible. This is what I bring to the table. So vote for me if you can. Thank you.
Thank you to both Abdul Rahman and Sherry on your thoughts about what's your competitive advantage. Now we'll open the floor to the public to ask any question if they want to. Yes.
Hello, good afternoon. Abdul Rahman Sherry. I'm Christian. So my question to you is, I understand you all have your own individual manifestos that you all want to achieve for the campus and have wonderful events. But in order to achieve these goals, you all need to have a really good team behind you, right? Within your members. So my question is, how would you cultivate this efficient working culture and bond within the council itself from between all those three departments? That's my question.
For this, we'll have Abdul Rahman answer first and then followed by Sherry.
Now, ongoing this idea about how there's a lot of differences between the departments, the thing is that I think TUSC have done throughout the time is we have not disclosed this information to the outside public. And frankly, even if you ask any individual person walking by, like, do you know how many departments TUSC have? None of them would have the answer. Do you know why? And that is because we actually work as a collective unit. And although we might seem to have problems internally, but on the outside, people do see us as a one whole team. And I believe it is very crucial. But for the internal issues, I believe the most possible solutions would be to hold more events that are held within the council itself. But it counteracts the idea that we want to provide more opportunities to other Teloians. So what we can do is we can just provide a balance between the both events. But the thing that can distinguish both of them, we can uphold the events for TUSC members as in outside outings, right? And the ones for Teloian students as in the university lakeside, in the campus itself. This is my view on it.
Right, thank you. Thank you, Abdul Rahman. We'll now get Sherry to answer the question.
So for me, definitely I would say to make things work better, relationships and bond are the first step. So I would come up with more outgoing events that we can have, just a casual one like a lunch or dinner where we can actually sit down and develop those relationships. Secondly, in terms of our working capabilities, to be honest, this is very subjective to improve on, because everyone has different talents, different skills already in their hand. And what we can do is, we already have teams, small teams within events that we are holding on. So as in that team, the one that is already experienced should be teaching or guiding the person with less experience. With this, the less experience can gain that experience, and he or she can pass down that tradition of guiding their fellows to become a better person. I trust this would help in our productivity, in our work quality, and make things overall better. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to the both of you. Now, there's a question on the online platform. In the event of resistance or pushback from some quarters on certain changes you want to bring, what would your next step be, and how would you address this challenge as the Vice President? We'll start with Sherry and end with Abdul Rahman.
So in terms of resistance, I would first assume if the resistance is just because of we don't want to change. So if this is the point of view of the resistance, I would, of course, continually fight for what is right, because I believe that change is necessary for us to become a better person. If we don't change, we constantly stay the same, what's the difference between the old you and the new you? So I believe I would constantly fight to gain that change, to make things happen. But of course, if the resistance happens because there is something, realistically speaking, there is something that is not going to happen because of the way it is, of course, the common ground definitely can be found. What we can achieve it in step one. Maybe what we wanted, initially what we wanted to do was 10 steps. But they said, no, we can't do all these 10 steps. So the middle ground we can do is, we wanted to do at least step 1 to 5, so that something can be achieved, something can be changed. And I believe if we keep pushing this forward, the resistance may grow smaller and smaller, because as time passes, maybe the situation is changing, the environment is changing, that problem may not pose us as a problem anymore. So I believe that resistance should not be left there. It should be constantly viewed as a very important aspect. We should fight for it, fight for what we believe is right, what we believe we want, and what we believe we want to bring. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Sherry. Now we'll proceed with Abdul Rahman.
If we're talking about resistance within the council itself, where internal issues are upheld due to changes that we certain people in position have actually made these changes, I believe that it is the best choice of action to refute these issues in a more mannerable way. There is a famous saying that says, fight fire with fire. Now, I won't do that. I would put the fire out with some sand. Believe it or not, I've never been a fan of going on the thing face to face in the terms of prolonging it or making it longer. So I'll try to put it down through various meetings and uphold the problem to a higher position if I myself cannot hold or resolve the claim. But I believe that it can be settled down with some negotiation, and at the end of the day, communication is key, so we can reach a common ground, as Sherry said.
Thank you to both of you for answering that question from the online viewer. We have room for one more question for students physically present here. Is there anyone with any questions that we can get you to ask for our candidates. All right.
Thank you. Hi, it's me again. Okay, I just have 2 questions, but I'll just ask one shot, so you can just answer it one shot as well. So my first question is, regarding your debate topic, speaking of exploring new horizons, are there any existing foundations that you wish to remove? So that's my first question. My second question is, in specific, what can be improved from the previous term? And you can go to whatever extent you want.
Okay. For this, we'll have Abdul Rahman answer first, followed by Sherry.
You mentioned something about specific things you want to remove. Things that we want to remove from the council currently, correct?
Are there any existing foundations?
So far, I do not believe that I'm going to make a drastic change to the council structure. I'm not going to promise you a imaginary reconstruction of the whole campus, of the whole council right now. But I believe that the way it's running right now is quite adequate until we uphold the meetings for the upcoming events. Did you know that last semester, TUSC held more than 50 events throughout all of this time? And it's really quite interesting to think about it, since if this system that was put in was able to uphold this much number of events, I believe there's some good to it. So I, as a position right now as a member of a department in the campus, I don't believe I have adequate information to provide you with what is to be removed and not removed currently. And to get to your question about the second question, about the new things that I want to bring to the council, I believe the most prominent issue is the prolongation of checking for certain tasks. Now, even though it is really crucial and it has been spoken about before, the checking tasks prolongation is actually due to the efficiency that we want to provide to the students. Now, even though it might take time and stress, and it might take all of our, the core feeling of patience, but at the end of the day, we want to provide a product that we are proud to present to you as TUSC members. So in doing so, I would like to streamline that in the sense that it will not affect the quality of it. I think that's going to be the main area of concentration.
Now we'll have Sherry answer the question.
All right, so foundation that I want to remove, to be honest, isn't really a very big thing. It's just that, actually you can say it's big or it's small. It's just that I want to make student council to be more known by students around. And the foundation that is kind of stopping us from doing that right now is we are very strict. We uphold formalism too much in a lot of our platforms. And I think something we can improve is that maybe in one of the social media, we actually have TikTok account, and we did try to make student council to be more approachable to students, to be more friendly looking to students, but it kind of stopped midway. Like the initiative wasn't really ongoing as we wanted it to have. So I want this foundation of being overly formal to be removed. And of course, we keep the formal in physical events because that is our professionalism. But I think the formal can be reduced when we are online. When we're online, we can give more friendly images via TikTok, via Instagram Reels, to showcase the side of us where we are friendly, approachable, that they feel safe to voice out their ideas. This is the foundation. And something to improve from the current term is that I want things to not happen too much, too packed up, because As a member myself, we all know that if we pack the schedule up too tight, it's draining down on us, it's draining on our productivity, it's draining down on the work quality. And this is what I want to improve, not make the schedule too tight. Thank you.
All right, thank you to both Abdul Rahman and Sherry for answering the question. This unfortunately marks the end of the question and answer session for the vice presidential candidates. Just a reminder for everyone watching that the voting for the Taylor's University Student Council elections will begin on the 23rd of September up till the 30th of September. You can find out more about the candidates' manifestos on our Instagram page at Taylor's Uni SC, where you will be provided with all candidates' information starting from the president up to the directors of campus welfare, campus relations, and campus integrations. Before we wrap up the presidential speech and debate session, we'll open the floor to both candidates to provide their closing remarks. For this, we will start with Abdul Rahman first. Abdul Rahman, the floor is yours.
TUSC was never black and white in my opinion. There was always this gray area where, there's always more to expect from you. And this area made me become more than who I actually am. But at the end of the day, there's always room for improvement. I won't say I'm the perfect, and I won't say I will be perfect, but I will show you how to become the best version of yourself as I am trying to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul Rahman, for your closing speech. We'll now move on to Sherry to share her closing remarks.
So for my closing remark, I'll just keep it short. Just to reinstate, if you want the campus to listen more of your opinions, to hear more of your opinions, to make changes to what your opinions are, vote for me, Sherry Chan, as your Vice President. Thank you.
Thank you to both Sherry and Abdul Rahman for your closing speech. We'd like to wish the both of you all the best for your campaign ahead. Good luck in campaigning for the vice presidential position for the Taylor's University Student Council. I'll now pass the floor to Tungjo to end the session.
All right, thank you, Elisha. So that actually wraps up our speech and debate session for both the president and vice president candidates. And we would like to thank the candidates for giving your best today. All right, so we would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the viewers who tuned in for today's session, be it in physical, in Taylor Speaker's Corner, and also in our YouTube Live. So we also really hope that this session helped you understand better on who your president and vice president candidates are. Once again, we would like to remind everyone that voting commences on the 23rd of September up until the 30th of September 2023. So please cast your votes on who you want to see as your future president and vice president for Taylor's University Student Council term 2023-2024. Also, we will be having the second speech and debate session for the three directors, which are the Director of Campus Integration, Director of Campus Welfare, and also the Director of Campus Relations, happening tomorrow at 1 p.m. Thursday, also at the same venue right here. And the order will go from the Campus Integration, Campus Relations, and then Campus Welfare. We hope to see you all there tomorrow, and that's all for today. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
you.